Hello, everyone out there in video land. Hello, everyone out there in radio land. Do we have everything? Yes, everything's going. I believe we have it going. Hello, out there. It's Manic Monday. I'm back. That's right, everyone. I'm back here. I'm going to just adjust this camera a little bit. I'm back in the studio. I haven't been here since last Wednesday after I did Absolutely, simply because I was away. I was away for a couple days. I took off to Erie, Pennsylvania. I don't have any elbows up, Erie, Pennsylvania, but the weather was brutal. I will say that. The weather was not very nice in Erie, Pennsylvania. It gave me agita. And but we did have a good time. It's always fun in Erie. There's great restaurants there. We were down by the waterfront, saw all the boats in the marina, saw the scallywag going out, the pirate boat they have there, takes you out in the lake. They have the paddle wheeler. I went to a few restaurants, had a good time. Always a good time with Chopper and Breda. Thanks, Chopper and Breda. We always have a good time going to Erie together, all of us. And Liz, too, was, of course, there. And what can I say? It's a fun time. We'll be going again. I usually try to get there 2 or 3 times in the summer, once in the summer, once in the fall and the spring, and do a little bit of shopping, hang out, have a good time, and you get to know people there after a while. They see you enough times coming in and out, and they go, "Hey, you're back." Pretty cool, my American friends, with my Doge shirt down there. Okay, so what do we got? Lots to talk about, of course, because I haven't been here. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, starting with City Council, some tidbits from City Council. We'll get more and more as we go along through the week. Right now, I have my two buddies, Mike Cushman and Gary Wilkins, at the Cyanamid, showing Eric Idle. I saw Lori Lococo there, Dave Wheeler there. They're down at the Cyanamid showing them all the pollution and contamination places and that. From what I saw on the live feed, getting a lot of static from them, saying that it's all been checked and everything's okay. But they said that about Love Canal too. So we'll see what the final result is. I'll get one of them in here probably to talk about it during the week. And of course, this Saturday we have the Rick Rose event coming up. That's right, Saturday at 6:30. They're going to dedicate part of Queen Street to Rick Rose. He used to own 4680Q, of course, taken over from the family by Pat Porter, and they're going to dedicate part of Queen Street. 4680Q Radio has an event going on around that dedication, with live bands going to be playing, and then starting at around 4 o'clock, we have Dealer's Choice with Chico and Dylan Mars. Chico Sanchez and Dylan Mars playing up first. Rob Reproves is going to be playing. Angela Syracuse and Rob Leclerc, they're going to be playing. Vivi, right from LA, is coming into play. Yes, Vivian Ray, they're going to be playing. Valerie Borghese, met her a long time ago, and she was under Rick's kind of wing in the studios at 4680Q, and it was down by Taps. And that's going to be neat to see her again. Haven't seen her since she went to LA, but I do follow her. Evan Rotella and Dave Rave, they got a little thing going. They're going to be playing. And, of course, the NIOMA, the Niagara Institute of Music and Arts, students are going to be playing with John Kruchke. They're going to be playing as well. So I think there's 5 students going to be doing some musical acts. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. I can't wait for the day. It's going to be a fun day for everybody. All the guys are going to be there from 4680Q because we are running the event in conjunction with the street naming for Rick Rose at 6:30. Come on down to Taps Brewhouse on Queen. It's going to be a fun day. There are, if you give a donation to the Rick Rose Music Foundation, you'll get a ticket to get in on the giveaway. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a really fun day. Okay, so what do we got here? My sponsors. We can't forget my beautiful sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. They not only supported the Rick Rose event that 4680Q is throwing, they're also support the show, and they're also beautiful people that really support Niagara Falls. So while Bill's out of repair, we see the weather getting neat. You got to get your car in and get it checked out before the summer. Another month, the kids are out of school. You're going to be going places. You don't want your car to break down. You want it to be running A1. That's what you want to do. You want it to be running A1. So you take it into Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, get Ken Hunter to throw your car on his diagnostic equipment, get your computer codes, get them fixed, check your brakes, your systems, your air conditioning, everything. So you have a safe journey this summer. You don't want to be breaking down. That's the worst thing that could happen. If you get in a wreck, he has a full body shop. Take your car in. It'll be wrecked. When it comes out, it'll be in showroom condition, just like it's supposed to be. Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Go down, call Wild Bill. Call Ken Hunter today. WildBillsAuto.ca is where you go to look at the website. Okay, let's move on. And before we get into the thing, we're going to do some viewer comments. We talked about the Rick Rose event, but there's action in the meteor crater. I'm looking at the meteor crater right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trucks over there. They're boring holes. They're drilling holes. Something big is happening over there. They're getting it site ready for, they're supposed to be building a 10-story or 20-story apartment building there. So they must be getting it site ready. The surveyors were in a couple weeks ago, I mentioned. So the meteor crater is going to be developed, and we're going to lose our meteor crater in Niagara Falls, big tourist attraction. I saw 0 tourists there over the last few weeks, so unbelievable. Something's actually going to happen. Well, I don't know. I can't guarantee that. We know how city council works, city hall works, but there's action over there. They're spending money. So I guess they're spending money to make money or something, but there's action over there. Okay, over to viewer comments. At Penny Brookify. My father and all of his forefathers had service donkeys. How do you think they got to the farms? And this is, we were talking about the city council meeting where they want to change the name from service animals to service dogs in the bylaw about dogs in restaurants and stuff. And they don't want to say service animals, I guess, because service animals, you could bring a crocodile into a restaurant if it's a service crocodile. So we were talking about that, and I'm not sure if a donkey can be considered a service animal in Canada, even though those chooches were used big time in the old country. Remember, the city wants to designate service dogs and not say service animals. So that explains that. But yes, a donkey in Italy or any country in Europe 50, 60 years ago were service animals because they did everything. You rode them into town and you got them to pull the plow. So there you go. Good point at Penny Brookify. At 881 Slick, I don't disagree with Wheels much at all, but his take on Mike Strange was off by a mile. Sorry, Dave. The city has a reputation to keep, and it will definitely have a black eye, no pun intended. Ooh, good one, with Strange staying on council. And we've talked about this. This is a tough one. Mike did show up to the city council meeting on last Tuesday. So people were wondering, is he gonna show up or not? Well, he did. So that's that. He did show up. I thought he probably would, and he did. Good or bad? I don't know. That's for you to judge. I'm not going to judge him. He's innocent until proven guilty. All the signs point to something that happened, and we'll know when he goes to court. I think his first appearance is June 6th or something. But my thing is, it's not about what happened. We'll find out what happened and the truth about it and everything else. My thing is that it kind of puts everybody in council and in council chambers in a weird position because you have a lot of women that are there in executive management positions on city council, and that's one of those no-nos. So sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. I don't know if that applies here, but I thought maybe he would just bow out for this meeting until after June 6th and see where that goes but he didn't. He was there. From last Tuesday's show again, Dave Wheeler, 1158. Great quote by Shakespeare, very fitting. And he was commenting on my to be or not to be start for when I was talking about the postie strike and was saying that to strike or not to strike. That is the question. That quote from Shakespeare. And, and he said it was appropriate. Wheels, my buddy Wheels. Now, Dave Wheeler, 1158, gave another comment. Niagara Regional Police not going to law enforcement conferences in the U.S. has more to do with cost to the taxpayer. What would it have cost? More important, how much has it cost in the past years? And my reply to that is I would agree if the budget hadn't been already set down at $213 million, and these conferences are all included in the budget anyway. So it wasn't a money thing at that point. Now, before the budget was set, if they said we're not going to go to conferences to save money, I would have said, yeah, that okay, great. But this is pretty important right now that they go. So canceling it's going to save what, I don't know how much, $100,000 or something of the $213 million budget. But more important, the U.S. is demanding that Canada clamp down on illegals and drugs that are filtering into the U.S. So I think when they go to these conferences and meetings, they do share intelligence and they share ideas of how they're dealing with it in the U.S., how ICE is dealing with it, how Homeland Security is dealing with it. And for our police to have an idea of maybe some tactics they're using that aren't available to the public, we don't know how they're doing it, but the police know how they're doing it, and they know how the departments are interacting and talking to be able to make this all work, this getting rid of all the illegals that Trump has mandated and making the country safe again. Well, this is the kind of strategies that we may need in the Niagara Regional Police Force for them to be able to effectively remove any illegals and remove criminals, remove gang members, and stop fentanyl, stop the drugs at the border. So I think it's important for them to go. More important than ever, maybe, especially since Trump is saying, until you stop it at the border, we're going to put tariffs on everything. So I just agreed to save money would be nice, but at this point in time, when we need more intelligence and that kind of thing, for them to be in the loop is very, very important, and it's already budgeted for 2025 because they set down the 2025 budget not only for city council but for regional council and the police force. Go ahead, go find out, get information. I think it's important right now that they do that. So I kind of disagree with you about why they cut it out. It has nothing to do with money, I don't believe. I think it has everything to do with this elbows up baloney. Elbows up. We're not going to go to the States. We're not going to do this. No Canadian. This crazy, crazy elbows up baloney that never worked. Nothing's any better since they started this elbows up. It got worse, our relationship. It's time to drop it, and they should be going there. And when I was in Erie, there was no elbows up. I met a lot of great Americans, a lot of nice people from all over. They had no problem. They know we're Canadians. We've been there many times. They had no problem with us or anything, and just had a good time. The one thing that I did find out that was very, very interesting in Erie was we went out for to Longhorns. So it's a steak joint, right? And I asked the waitress, like, how much she makes an hour. What's the minimum wage in Pennsylvania? What she makes an hour? And I was shocked, totally shocked when she told me it was $2.83 for servers. Yeah, you heard that right. They get paid $2.83 an hour. Without tips, they can't afford to go to Longhorn for supper. 283 times 40 hours is like $80 and another 30, about $115 a week. Can you imagine? Our servers here are getting $17.50 and then tips on top of that. They're getting $2.83, bringing them up to the minimum wage in Pennsylvania, outside of service people like her, of $7.50. You heard it right. What do you think of that? Give me a comment on that one. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, we left a great tip to her. And because of that, I said, well, we got to leave her a good tip here, right? I felt bad for her. She was so nice and she was there all the time. And she probably has to split her tips with busboys and everything else. Who knows, right? But wow. Wow, I have more respect for tipping down there. You talk about people living on their tips. Well, this is the situation. So, yeah, leave comments on that one, you guys. I want to see what you have to say about that because that's pretty wild, if you ask me. Anyway, that's the truth. That's what I found out. Unbelievable. I figured it'd be 11 or 12 bucks an hour. You know, you take 17.50, take 40% off of it, and that's probably their minimum wage. But no, it's not. It's not. So let's get on to city council notes. All in all, it was a pretty good meeting. There was some time wasting as usual. The meeting looked like it ended around 10:30 at night, though, and they started at 2 in the afternoon. So, but then you got to take into account the in-camera one. So we're paying $1,600 an hour when the full meeting is on for the public. And so that first part, of course, we don't pay that because it's for in camera. They're in top secret meeting. It's only council and the mayor and maybe the lawyer or something, CAO or whatever. But it was a pretty good meeting, but it did last a long time. That's a long day, 9 hours. By the end, you're done. But it went pretty good. They got down to business. There was a lot of discussions going on. And like I say, Mike Strange did show up and was more involved with council than usual, I felt. He read from a script that looked like someone had written on a subject. I can't think that he wrote it, but maybe he did. I don't know. Didn't sound like it to me. Planning matters were a big issue, especially the one on Stanley Avenue. For some reason, there were a lot of residents speaking on it, and some members were visibly upset. Especially only 8 about the whole thing. Counselor only 8. And I find that odd because at the end of the day, it's so common sense what they were talking about. So for somebody to be upset about it or not understand it after being on council for 2 years is crazy. And here's what I don't get. Nothing has changed with planning. Our city planners have the job to ensure that all new developments adhere to provincial, regional, and municipal regulations. Right? If they do, the development is approved by the city planners. They have to approve it because if they don't, it's going to go to the OLT and the OLT is going to approve it anyway. So even if they do what they think is the right thing because the people are there yelling and screaming and upset, they're not doing the right thing for the people. I know that sounds weird, but at the end of the day, if they say no when our planners have said yes, it goes to the OLT. To be able to take it to the OLT, we've got to hire planners that agree with them turning it down. And if they can't find a planner that will agree with them turning this down, and it's been approved by our planners because they have gone by every single regulation that's been handed down by the province, the region, and the municipality, then what makes anybody think that you're going to find a planner that would be the opposite opinion? And if you do, you're going to have to take them to court. They're going to have to promote their case, and it's going to cost you money. Plus, you have to have a lawyer there and everything else to fight for city council. And at the end of the day, the OLT is going to say, well, your planners approved it. And unless there's some real huge mitigating factor that these planners were just totally out to lunch on this one, the OLT is going to say, okay, but it might cost city council $50,000, $100,000. Might cost the taxpayers, I should say, not city council. Might cost the taxpayers. So at the end of the day, regardless of how many people are yelling and screaming, the common sense thing would be to vote with your planners and approve it. Now, these people are going to yell and scream and they're going to be mad and they're going to think you're the bad guy. But at the end of the day, you're not the bad guy. You're doing what's right for the taxpayers, which is what you were hired to do. I mean, I know it's an emotional issue, but you were elected and you were hired to make tough decisions. And sometimes, regardless of what the people say, and if your planners are telling you it's a good development, you've got to vote for to approve it. It's not going to work, and you're going to cost these taxpayers money. And then at the end of the day, they're going to be complaining about the money you spent wastefully when your planners told you it was okay. So you got to vote with your planners. And Counselor Only Eight, Triple F, and Lococo were on the same page on this one, and I don't understand why. Counselor Only Eight asked why she is even there. And I ask that same question every meeting. Not the same, meaning though, because she meant, why are we even there if we don't get to really approve or turn down things that we think are good or bad for the residents? Well, you're there, but you're there to make sure that the planners and you approve these things because you don't want it going and wasting taxpayer money. And I know it's a tough to say no to people, and they're going to get mad at you, and they might not vote for you even. But the bottom line is, the people who have common sense who can figure this one out, they're going to be the ones to vote for you because you're doing what's right for the taxpayer. But it's always been this way. I don't understand where this is a big mystery all of a sudden. Council said no because of pressure by the residents. It went to the OMB and it got approved at that level. That's happened to me. We had a development in my neighborhood that they didn't want the residents. And we went to council. They said no. It went to the OMB and the OMB said yes. The only thing we managed to get was a few concessions as far as the way it was going to be built and what was going in there. But other than that, it was built, and that's the way it was. Now, this developer has already appears that he's been working with surrounding problems and doing things that are going to mitigate the problems. He's right on board with that, helping out. So he's already doing that. Our guy wasn't. We had to get the OMB to really lay down some rules for him. That's how we did win. We didn't win the OMB do not build thing, but we did win as far as some concessions we wanted went. But it's the same thing, and it's just all of a sudden council's worried about these things. Well, no, it's always been that way. Nothing's changed. It went from the OMB to the what is it? OLTA tribunal thing, and then it went to the OLT. Yeah. Oh no, LPAT. It went from OMB, Ontario Municipal Board, to LPAT, and then to OLT. So it's always worked like this. So why they're surprised, I don't know, and why this is always the bit it is. But yeah, irate citizens are tough to deal with, and you have to understand our planners don't work on emotion. They're not elected, so they don't have to worry about that. They go by what the rules are pertaining to that. So, I mean, there's no prejudice or anything, and you just go by the rules. This is it. It's okay. So we're saying to approve it. You do what you want, City Council, but remember, if you don't approve it, it's going to OLT. It's going to cost us and the taxpayers a lot of money. So the developer was approved, thank God, and the developer will work with residents to resolve further issues. That is the correct answer. That's the way you do it. And if councils are too weak to make those decisions, then they have to step down and let others work, let others in that can work on common sense and rational thinking, and let that take over. So that was a big thing. Tiffany Clark is full of baloney. And I'm going to get to that right after my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, which isn't full of baloney. They got one of the best pizzas in town. Um, it's always the first thing I get when I get back from places. They have great pizza. I mean, I get my Canadian. I'm happy with it. They make a great pizza. Use the Mancini family recipe for sauce and for their crust. They put the right amount of cheese on it and the right ratios. A little bit of cornmeal on the bottom. They make a beautiful pizza, great pizza. You can taste the sauce. The cheese is fantastic. A blend of Saputo, mozzarella, and brick. They make pizza the right way and it's consistent. That's the key to a pizza. You go get a pizza, it's great. Then you go get another one, it's terrible. No consistency. Well, these guys are consistent. They make it the same way every time and it's good. But they're not one trick pony. They have wings, they have poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak sandwiches, panzerotti. They have a whole menu that folds out. You can't beat it. They know what they're doing. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222. Get down there today. You go to their website, petespizzavictoria.ca. You're going to see all the beautiful things that they have there. They're involved with the Rick Rose event. And thank you and good for you. They're going to have some, I think they're going to give us a few certificates. So if you get down to that Rick Rose event for the giveaways, you might just win one and you can enjoy one of their beautiful pizzas. Yeah, support our sponsors because they support the show. And don't forget, if you're watching the show, subscribe. It costs you nothing. Subscribe, costs you nothing. You're going to get a notification when I post a video. You can't beat it. It helps the algorithm. It helps my show get out there, helps the show. Pass it on. Share the show with people. It's on Rumble. It's on X. It's on YouTube, as well as live on 4680Q at noon on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Wednesday, I do Habsolutely. All Habs, all show. So support our shows. Support this show. Subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching and appreciate you listening and appreciate you supporting the channel. So Tiffany Clark, full of baloney. She gave some baloney regarding casino money, but the truth is whatever is above and beyond what they allow for in the budget is never given to the citizens as a tax break. That's the truth. They claim that the money is allocated to certain expenditures, but every citizen has to understand there is no law on the books. And if anybody knows of one, please let me know and correct me, that says they can't give the whole 20 million, less than Niagara Regional Police, of course, what we have to give them, back to the residents as a tax savings. They can do what they want with the money. Now, they'll talk about these 5 rules that they have. 5 rules that they have. They got how to spend the money. But that's just something council made up years ago so they wouldn't fritter it away. They wouldn't just blow it. They said, here's how we're going to spend it. And they made 5 demandments so that they have something to guide them as far as spending go. This much is going to this much is going to that. But understand that that money is ours. We can spend it the way we want. They've been sticking to this little thing that they have. But remember, anything they make up, they can also turn around or change. It's sleight of hand. I mean, it's sleight of hand. Here's your ledger: revenue, expenses. Right? So they allow 14 million for the revenue. And of course, the expenses are more than the revenue. So they say, you got to pay more taxes. We don't have enough money. If they put the real number in, you don't have to pay any taxes because our revenue meets our expenses. So they play that game and they want you to believe that you owe taxes, but you really don't. I mean, when we saw we're 4 million short, our taxes are increased by 5%. Just changing the entry from 14 million to 18 million would make it even. So simple. So simple. It's calling balancing the books. Now the squirrel, and that's what I'm going to call Tiffany Clark from now on, because she gets money and squirrels it away in these holding accounts and these reserve accounts. She did say that they received about 5 million more than they estimated, and that money went into capital reserves. But remember, it didn't have to go into capital reserves. So this was the question that Councillor Lococo asked. about the casino money. Why do they estimate 14 million when we really get 20 million? So she said, yeah, that they put in capital reserves, but it didn't have to go into capital reserves, which means we didn't have to get a 4.9% tax increase. How about that? As well, the squirrel said that she was talking CAO Penguin to put more money in the budget this year in 2026 when the budget comes out. And unless they waste it on more frivolities rather than give it back to us, stay tuned and we'll see what they're going to do with it. And the excuse is always, well, what if we don't get the casino money? Well, what if we don't? Could be cut off at any time. So what? I mean, so what? So we take that into account in next year's budget, right? They could cut it off. Why would they? They're making billions of dollars on it. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars. They're just going to cut it off? I don't think so. That was a fake one from COVID. Don't worry about that. That was all just a fake. There's no reason to shut the casino down. No other casino was shut down. The one in Niagara Falls, New York was open. That was just our region, and that was just Hergy screwing us. So, I mean, if you think about it, if they estimated the casino money at its proper amount, which should be around, I would say, 16.5 million, right? 16.5 million or so, then what would happen is that at the end of that, we'd have like 2.5 million more, and that equals about 4%, 3.5%, 4%, and our taxes might have gone up only 1%. So that works. That works, you see. It does work. It does work. But anyway, gotta quit wasting money. That's the biggest problem. I mean, that casino money is important that they say it right, but we can't spend money on $17 million exchange and $17 million walking trails. They're not needed in $25,000 concrete ping pong tables. And I might have more information tomorrow about other wasteful spending that we're going to be looking at. And we got $22 million from the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband. Where's that money? Well, we're going to talk more about that. Don't worry, we're not letting this go. So it looks like a city council meeting. We're talking about this. These are all city council meeting things, by the way. I guess city council didn't learn from Niagara and Lake regarding the noise levels of their pickleball courts. And now they're talking about putting a 12-foot curtain around it because it's making so much noise. And I think they said it's $50,000. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Seriously, it never ends. It never ends. They got to put curtains around it to deaden the racket. Did you not hear what Niagara and Lake people said? As a matter of fact, they closed their pickleball courts down. They were so noisy. Did you think it would somehow disappear above the roar of the falls or something? I mean, that clickety click will drive you nuts 24 hours a day over there. Them guys playing, smashing. It's crazy, and it's a fad. You know that it's going to disappear in about 5 years. Where's Doge? Where's Doge? And it's really a real sad response. I mean, spending $50,000 on soundproof curtains or whatever they're putting up there. I think that's what it. And like they squirrel money away. The squirrel squirrels it away, and then they use it to do stuff like this. So yeah, there you go. Unbelievable, but that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth right there. So that's the pickleball situation. Good conversation regarding ADUs being used for short-term rentals in regards to whether they count towards our goal of 8,000 new builds and the money that comes along with meeting our goals. So that the province expects Niagara Falls to have 8,000 new housing units built by 2031. And as we reach certain benchmarks they've set for us, we get money from them, and we haven't received any money yet because we haven't reached the benchmarks. And once again, it's because the council knows how to approve developments. They just don't know how to get them started and built. But if they're worried about counting short-term rentals that they're building, ADUs, additional dwelling units, add-on dwelling units, whatever they call them, you can use the tent that's across the street in the backyard from my house. There's a tent across there. Put that on your list of additional dwelling units with people living there for a year through the winter and everything in a tent. So it's a long-term rental. Obviously, they've been there for a year, not just a week. But if you want to know where that is, call me and I'll tell you. And you can go down there, City Council, and put it on your list of ADUs towards the 8,000. It's there. Okay, we talked about the incessant racket from pickleball, no pun intended, right? And finally, after years of the carnival that we call the tourist industry in town, the city is going to crack down on these parking lots that look like they were designed right out of the Barnum and Bailey handbook. That's right. The lots have to be licensed and they're going to pay, and also meets new standards that are going to be set down by the city, which is great because you go down there and there's big yellow signs, hawkers out in the middle of the street waving cards to go in there, and they got junk all over. One even has a couch out front, so the guys who are barking out front can have a nap while it's when the parking lot's full or it's not that busy. So finally, I think Councillor Patel made a motion for this one, and they're going to have rules for all these private parking spaces. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. They look like hell now. You drive around, it looks like a carnival. I love it. I mean, these places, like, they have nothing on Sanford and Son. There's junk all over the place. There's guys hawking it with big vests on and everything else. It's the craziest thing you ever saw. I mean, stone. They know, not paved or anything. No lines marking it. They just pile everybody in. And I think there should be standards for a lot of things, including ADUs, that they have to have running water and electricity, and they're actually like a house, not just a tent in the backyard. But that's what they're going to do, and I love it. Thank you very much. Let's clean up this city. Looks bad enough as it is. We don't need any more. And there was a motion by Councillor Patel to honor our veterans, and Councillor Lococo said someone has asked to donate money towards having a crosswalk painted in honor of our veterans, and they'd like to have it done by Memorial Day. Well, not Memorial Day, sorry, Remembrance Day. Still stuck in Erie. Remembrance Day. And I love it. I agree 1,000% with this. We should honor our veterans every day. And I'll throw $100 in myself. I'll donate $100 to it to have it done. I'd probably get other people that'll donate money to have this crosswalk painted if you need it. But I think they should do this. And if anybody out there wants to kick in, let me know to honor our veterans with a nice crosswalk for them. And we got to make sure this happens before Remembrance Day. We can celebrate it. Hopefully, it's downtown, right by the park there, or somewhere where they celebrate Remembrance Day, honoring our veterans. We should all be celebrating that. Can't thank them enough for what they did for all Canadians, what they continue to do around the world as I speak. Some of them paid the ultimate price for our freedom, lest we forget. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get the money together, whatever it costs. I don't know, but if you need a fundraiser, I know there's going to be people that would be glad to give. To get even start a GoFundMe, somebody can start to give the money to get this crosswalker, and if the city will kick in as part of their Remembrance Day ceremonies, that'd be nice. But either way, let's get it done. I love the idea. Great motion, great idea. Okay, so we're out of City Council. That's about all I saw in there. There's some planning matters that got approved. Nothing more. They're the biggies that I wanted to talk about today. If any more come up, I'll talk more about them. But I didn't see anything other than that. That's pretty well it. So let's go over to Regional Council, and we're going to talk about a smart decision regarding their buses. I'm going to talk about that after we talk about my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. Now, Hamel Machine Company has been around since 1948 in the city. Machine shops are very important for the city. They take care of industry, and industry always needs a good machine shop to actually take care of anything that breaks down. They can't wait for things to come from Germany or Europe or China or Taiwan or any other places where they're manufactured, even the United States. They can't wait 6 weeks. They can't shut down for that long. So what do? They take their products to Hamel Machine Company to get them to fix them. And if Hamel Machine can't fix them, they'll actually re-engineer them. They'll build them a new one. And 9 times out of 10, if they go look at the piece of equipment, they can build a new one that is even better than the original. It will work faster. It'll work more efficient. So they're helping the industry be better at what they do. They help the region, they help the city, they help fix things in the city for all industry. And they even service us, the little guys. You need a set of gates for your backyard. They'll design them and build them for you. Your lawnmower throws something, breaks or whatever. You can take it there. They'll give you a new part, get a new part for you. Snow blowers, whatever you need in metal or 3D printing, they have a 3D printer that can print parts. They have the engineers and the IT people to be able to create the program to do it. They also have water jet cutters to get through steel for you. It's unbelievable what they do over at Hamel Machine Company. Been around since 1948 to service everybody in the city. Call Hamel today if you need anything done. They can help you, and if they can't help you themselves, they know who can. They're fantastic at what they do. Hamel Machine Company, hamelmachine.ca. Give them a call today. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you, and please support our sponsors because they support the show and they also support the Rick Rose event we're having this Saturday. Okay, so Regional Council, they're going to go with diesel buses instead of electric, hybrid, or some other expensive to maintain fuel-driven buses. I love this. I love this. They were talking about hybrid or EV, and I'm going, no, please don't. Please don't. We don't need these electric vehicles. They're a pain in the neck and they're expensive and they catch fire and everything else. Diesel is tried, true, proven. You have mechanics who can fix them. And they cost less. They perform flawlessly as a tried and true system and are less expensive to buy. I've been reading a lot on these electric cars. There are definite problems over and above them catching on fire and burning your house down. The biggest problem is weight. And what the weight not only does to say parking structures that were never engineered to take the weight of all electric vehicles. Some of them weigh 1,500 pounds more than a gas one. And I can't imagine what a bus weighs over and above what a normal bus weighs with a diesel engine, with all the batteries they have to have. And they also add weight to the roads, breaking down the roads faster. And they're just a major problem that was never anticipated when they were designing a lot of this stuff, right? So I'm glad they're going with diesel. I'm glad the roads take a pounding from these cars, and we don't think about that when we talk about electric. We don't think about that at all. So that's a great thing. They're going to go to a diesel instead of a electric, hybrid, natural gas, or any of these other crazy schemes that they have that haven't really been proven yet. They're getting there, but they're not there yet. So that's fantastic. Way to go. Smart decision. And our transit system from the region. It might save us some money, which means we might save some tax dollars next time they decide to throw down a budget. Okay, so the 22 million received from Holdco is sitting in reserve funds, and we talked about that a minute ago. Let's see if council reserves enough of this money to offset our projected tax increases in the 2026 budget, so they wind up being zero. So this Holdco money, if you remember, I talked about it. Holdco was the owner. Well, we're the owner of Holdco. We're the owner of anything Holdco buys, which was Niagara Regional Broadband. They had that along with Niagara on the Lake, 75% held by the taxpayers in Holdco, 25% being held in Niagara by the Niagara on the Lake. It was sold to Cogeco. I figure they got 45 million. City. Somewhere around there. I can't prove it. I don't know. I'm just going by what Niagara on the Lake reported. But I figure 45 million. Now, Holdco sent over 22 million at the end of the year last year, 2024. So my question is, where is it? They didn't use it to offset our taxes in 2025. So where is it? Our taxes in 2026 should be zero. After all, it's taxpayer money received for a taxpayer company that was sold, and we should reap the rewards of that sale because our money started Niagara Regional Broadband. So we're not talking a lot of money here. A 5% increase represents about 3.5 million. So we take that out of the 22 million, that leaves us 19.5 million. 18.5 million, if I do the math. So we could get a zero budget in 2026. Why not? 18.5 million can be thrown at capital projects. Thank you very much. Give us a break for once. Give us a break. I'm going to watch what they do with this. And I still got to know, where's the other 23 million? Now I got a message this morning from a person. I'm going to talk about that on tomorrow's show, about where they heard the money's going. And like I say, people message me all day, every day about different things around the city. This is one of them. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow if you want to know where they think this money is going. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, where's our money? Show us the money. Come on. See, 22 million. Where's the other 23 of the 45? And if I'm wrong, tell us I'm wrong. We didn't get 45. We got something else. That's fine. But tell us. We should know. It was our company. It was our money. Come on. Let's go. Let's get real here. Over to Canada Post. Oh, brother. Here we go. Canada Post has, have they had enough yet? Well, Canada Post has had enough of this Canadian Union of Public Workers, or whatever they're called, that union that represents the postal workers. What is it, Canadian Union of Postal Workers? CUPW? They're asking the federal cabinet minister to force a vote on its final offer and get this over with once and for all. Well, they made an offer. The posties didn't like it. The Crown Corporation has asked Federal Cabinet Minister of Jobs and Families, Patty Hadju, to exercise her authority under the Canadian Labour Code to direct a vote in the final offers submitted on May 28th to the CUPW. They've been bargaining since November 2023, and it's time to settle up. On May 30th, Canada Post said the best agreement is one fashioned by both sides rather than an arbitrator. But given the level of impasse, it's not possible to reach an agreement on a normal course of negotiations. I don't think. Now, the CUPW wanted to go to an arbitrator, but Canada Post said no. No, they're not agreeing to binding arbitration. They know what they can afford and what they can give because they're broke. They're broke. They spent something like $3.8 billion they lost in the last few years. So the latest offer includes signing bonuses, cost of living allowances, and the ability to opt out of overtime, along with a standing firm on previous offers of a 13% wage increase over the next 4 years, and the creation of a part-time weekend shift movement. The union says the offer falls short of what the posties want, but Canada Post has its final offers address the needs of posties, so they think they got it. These guys are signing their pink slips. Let's see how important they view their jobs and livelihood and get back to work. But there's not going to be any binding arbitration. Canada Post has made its offer. They're asking the Minister of Jobs and Families, Patty Hadju, to exercise her authority and direct the vote and final offer submitted on May 20th to the CUPW. Get a vote to the members, see what they say, and never mind the union. Let's see what the members have to say and vote on it and get a result. So this is at an impasse right now. They haven't gone on strike yet. They've gone on work slowdown. They're not doing any overtime. Something's got to give. We'll see who bends the knee first, but Canada Post is broke. They said, we're broke. We can't afford it anymore. And this is what we need to be able to continue on and you to have your jobs. Let's see if they take the CUPW takes them seriously. Now, over to the US. And this Autopen deal is blowing up big time. Signs are pointing to a lot of people with fake Johannes or Elizabeth Warren being in the thick of things. Heads are going to roll as these people can be charged with treason, and the death penalty is still a potential punishment for treason in the United States. As well, a conviction for treason results in forfeiture of the right to hold public office. Of course, I think right now, as we stand here right now, there's no question that Joe Biden did not have a clue what was going on. He had no clue what he was signing when he signed things himself, and he had no clue what was going on with that Autopen. And if you were half awake watching Joe Biden over 4 years of his presidency, you know darn well he didn't have full control of his faculties. He wasn't all there. And you had shills like Jake Tapper and Kamala Harris and the rest of these guys, Joe Scarborough, saying that he's fine. He's in the best shape he's ever been. Kamala Harris was saying he was running meetings. He was more active than the younger guys. He had it all together, and it was a big lie. Now we're finding out it was a total lie, and that he couldn't even sign anything. It was all done by Autopen. Trump has canceled the pardons issued by Biden using Autopen. So people like Shifty Schiff, Hunter Biden, and Fauci are all now under the microscope again. This is an ongoing story. Heads are going to roll over this without a doubt. Big trouble. Who was signing these papers? Who was using the Autopen? Now, there's usually the 5 people have to be involved, and it's got to be approved by the president to use the Autopen. So anybody just walks in, starts it up, and starts signing stuff, that's a no-no. So the next stop is the billions of dollars Joe Biden authorized to be spent in his last 76 days in office. He authorized more in those 76 days than the 3.5 years before. Obama's also involved on this one in some level, as are, of course, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and now Elizabeth Warren. And the 4 people who are immediately involved, that they said were immediately involved, they are actually lawyered up now. They're lawyered up. So now we're going to find out who was running the country while Biden was asleep. And like I say, I don't think anybody who was awake, who saw what was going on, the stumbles, the mumbles, I think that they know. They knew what was going on. Now it's going to be proven, and these people are going to be taken to task for covering it up. Now, any of the EO's executive orders signed by Autopen with regards to the law are null and void if they're not signed by hand, regardless. So if you send in and say, I want a picture of Joe Biden autographed, they'll use the Autopen to do it. It's not law. It's just a promotional thing or whatever. But any laws have to be signed by hand. And most of the signatures by Autopen were in the last 100 days of Biden's presidency, pardoning, over 8,000 people. And he didn't have a clue as to the documents being signed with Elizabeth Warren involved. It's forgery, it's fraud, even treason. The Department of Justice is pursuing it, and the perps will be charged to the full extent of the law. Don't forget the thousands of pardons, in addition to everything else that was signed. So they're all in trouble. Even the people who got just in case pardons, the preemptive pardons, in case Trump decided to charge them. They weren't charged with anything, but Biden gave them preemptive pardons going back 10 years. All illegal. Hunter Jill, Corinne Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, she's even going to be called to the witness stand. They're all being called to testify on this. Like I said, the 4 staffers are lawyering up. Biggest scandal in American history, even eclipsing Watergate. And the biggest question is who was actually running the country? And they're calling it a constitutional crisis. Yep. Nobody's denying the Autopen was used. Nobody was saying that it was legal and all above board. Stay tuned for this one. It's gonna explode. And it's gonna get really, really interesting. And the last bit of news I got when I got home is Russia. What's happening in Russia? Well, we know they took a shot at Ukraine's took a shot at his helicopter the one time. Then he responded with like 355 missiles and 9 cruise missiles or something, or 355 drones with 9 cruise missiles. And now the Ukraine has hammered Russia. They conducted a massive bombing campaign against the Russians, decimating the Air Force and really putting the hammer to Russia. It was said that this is the biggest loss of aircraft to a country since 1941, and that was Pearl Harbor. Unbelievable. Russia had lost at least 40 warplanes, a third of its fleet, at 4 military bases in this strike by the Ukraine, which was, they said they were planning for like a year and a half. And they went after a 5th airbase, but whatever they sent there never made it. It was said that 117 drones were launched to do the damage. Russia confirmed the attacks in 5 regions and called them terrorist attacks. And these air bases were thousands of miles from the launch site. So how do they get these drones in that there? Well, they shipped them in crates. They had them concealed in crates and got close to the air bases, dropped off by trucks, and then opened them remotely somehow and launched the drones remotely. And they caused all that damage. Just wild how the Russians never detected this, but they didn't. They said it was an extremely complex operation. So I have to say, if it was that complex, it's probably other people involved: France, United States, probably Britain. But the real big question here is, to me, is why weren't the Russians able to intercept these things? They don't have the technology, they don't have the intelligence to intercept these things. I mean, we see the Iron Dome in Israel intercepting all this crap all the time. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. Pretty weird. Stay tuned for that one. Russia's not replied at this time, but this is a huge escalation, a war that wasn't seen before the middle of Trump trying to bring both sides together in Istanbul. I mean, that's what they're doing. The next meeting is Trump's trying to make peace here. These guys are hammering each other. So they're supposed to go to Istanbul this week and have a second round of peace talks, with the goal of enacting a ceasefire and total peace agreement ending the war. I mean, if this continues, I think Trump's going to just wash his hands of the whole thing. I mean, it doesn't look like either side want a peace agreement, even though they say they do a ceasefire. I know Ukraine's being backed by Europe and those guys in the United States, and they want a war with Russia. And of course, now the big problem is, what's Russia going to do next? This is a pretty big hit to them. Their people are going crazy. They're afraid. Are they going to drop a tactical nuke? That's the next question. And if you say that's not going to happen, well, you know what? Don't think it can happen. It can happen. It can happen. He said nothing's off the table, right? In this war, you never know. You never know. But it's not supposed to be escalating. Trump wants peace, but you still can't stop these guys if they don't want to be part of that, right? And Trump said before, "I'm just going to wash my hands. Let Russia go in there and hammer the Ukraine out of existence." I don't think the Ukraine can do it the other way without support from NATO and United States and that. And let them come to peace, have peace negotiations, one way or the other, because they want to or because they're forced to. But either way, stay tuned to that one. That's another big one. That's another big one that's going on over the weekend that I saw. Lots going on, lots more. You only have so much time to talk about it. They're the big ones in the world today. There's going to be more. There's going to be more. We're going to see more. We're going to hear more. Every time I turn on the news, not CNN or any of that news, I go to YouTube and watch the real news. We get the truth of what's going on, and it's not pleasant over there right now. Regardless, we just have to sit and wait. We're 2 oceans away from either one of it. So unless they come over here, but there's a lot of terrorist attacks going on in the United States right now. We saw on the weekend this Mohammed Soleimani or something. He started firebombing people, lit a bunch of people on fire. Where the hell was that? That was in Boulder, Colorado, somewhere around there, I believe. And these guys are coming out of the woodwork now. He was let into the country illegally and stayed here. Now he's going to be arrested and thrown out, hopefully. But the problem is we have to have the Homeland Security, ICE, and everybody catching these guys before they cause major destruction. And that's a big problem because there's a lot of them here, and a lot of them have ill intent towards the United States. And don't think it won't spill over into Canada. We get it here too. We see the crime being committed here on the street every day, in these gangs and everything else. So don't be complacent out there. Be vigilant. Be aware. Look around. See what's going on around you when you go out, because it could happen to you as well. My name is Paul Kilamir. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from 4680Q Radio. The video will be up later on in the afternoon around 3 o'clock on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And I'm signing off for today. Please support our sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamill Machine Company. If you have a company that wants to sponsor the show, let me know. We'll talk. I'm looking for one more sponsor. I'd like to have 4 for the show. You're more than welcome to come and be a sponsor. Yeah, so all you have to do is just give me a call and we'll talk about it. Anyway, I'm out of here. Support our sponsors. Come on out on Saturday to the Rick Rose event. It's going to be fantastic. We will talk to you tomorrow at noon on Your City, Your Voice, Trash Talking Tuesday. And I'll have a lot more to talk about. Believe me, it never ends in Niagara Falls and around the world. Ciao, ciao for now.